It looks like, where's my camera? Here's my camera. It looks like we're live. I hope I remember to not leave music playing in the background, so I'm one up on Wednesday. So one of the things that I want to start today's live stream off on, we are going to be working in Sharpen to draw rows. Super easy, super fun. I love projects like this because they're just quick and easy. Definitely one of the great things about charcoal. Oh, I forgot to put paper towels down to clean up my mess. Well, I'll explain in a minute how I do that. So, but I do want to cover first, before we get started, I had a question today come through Patreon, and it's one that would have just taken me forever to type out, which means I probably wouldn't do it because I don't have time. I'm a jerk like that. But it was a good question. So I told the person, hey, I'll answer you here at the beginning of the stream. So this is something that may help others. This came from Ashante, and she said, hi Lisa, I'm new to Patreon. I apologize for messaging you personally. Never apologize. I mean, I don't always answer because, time and I'm a jerk, but don't apologize. I should be the one apologizing. But I was watching your 2015 colored pencil little girl portrait with an airbrush background blended with OMS. In the video, you said you weren't going to use colored pencil with the background because it would take 8 to 12 hours. Well, I'm working on something that needs a similar background, but colored pencil is all I'm comfortable using on the paper I have. The paper was a gift from my family. It may have come from the dollar store or Walmart, not sure, but I know this paper won't handle the moisture well from the airbrush. Do you have any extra videos or recommendations for working on colored pencil or a blurry background? With colored pencil on a blurry background, I saw the Snowy Owl one, but for some reason I can't relate the colors of the background that I'm doing. There's another part of this question, so we're going to be coming back to that. So for this portion, for getting a blurry background in colored pencil, the colors don't matter. The trick to getting a colored pencil, blurry background, or any medium is you're layering one area over another. You don't have sharp lines. So like where the green would shift into the blue, you don't have a definite line between the green and the blue. You overlap those. So you're gonna have your green and then you're gonna overlap your blue over it a bit. The trick there, no matter what medium, is to overlap those edges so that you're not getting a really sharp edge. Now you can have high contrast as far as like your dark's pretty dark, your light's pretty light. That's still fine for getting that bokeh background or the out of focus look, but whichever you're going for. But you want to make sure that you're overlapping those a bit, that they're not just here's the end of blue, here's the end of green, and then they touch. That's a definite like line there. You want to overlap them quite a bit and then blend them together, and that's what's going to give you that out of focus look. Don't try to get teeny details. So let's say you have a tree in the background that you want out of focus. You're going to do the same thing. If it's got brown bark or branches or gray, you're going to just let those edges be very soft and blend into the blue background or green background or whatever's next to it. You just don't want definite harsh lines. The trick is to let it blur together. As far as another video, I've done blurry out of focus backgrounds. And if you go to my website, lachri.com, there's a section, right, like scroll down a little bit, my Patreon video library, you're gonna see the colored pencil in there, and there are tons of videos where I've done the blurry backgrounds, the out of focus backgrounds with various colors. So you just pick which one seems more interesting to you and you can kind of get an idea there. But you'll see again, when you wanna get an out of focus, that blurry background, the trick is just no harsh lines. No, like you can have details in the sense that like some shadows are small, some shadows are, big areas, little areas, but those edges are all very soft. So that's going to be how you do that. The next thing was also, I was wondering, should I be using watercolor paper to do airbrush work? Would another kind work? I've used airbrush I typically go with the hot press watercolor paper, but I've also done it on Stonehenge, and it worked okay. It was fine. Not my favorite. Stonehenge is very absorbent. I prefer watercolor paper, but Stonehenge did work. And I want to say the one you're talking about may have been on Stonehenge. And lastly, I wanted to ask, see why I didn't want to type all this out. Lastly, I wanted to ask about tape. The tape I'm using is ripping my paper. It's masking tape, so I don't know where I'm going wrong. Thank you in advance. I apologize for the long message. No, it's great. This is a great way to start off today's live stream. I love this. These are good questions because they're questions that a lot of people have. So with the tape is you said is ripping your paper. It can be for a couple of reasons. One, you said the paper might be from Walmart or from the dollar store. It may just be really cheap, really thin paper. That is a definite possibility. But there are some things, no matter what paper you're using, that you want to keep in mind when you are using masking tape. Now first, the masking tape I recommend, this one's thin. I had it over here because I was going to use it to show you guys. But this one is this one says premium Masking Premium pH neutral masking tape. So this one is a black. Most of the ones that I use when I actually care if I'm keeping my work archival, like I want to sell it, I'm going to use it's a black masking tape, and it's not quite as tacky or adhesive as your regular masking tape, like what I'm using here. I'm using regular, and I don't recommend regular masking tape if you can avoid it, because it can leave residue behind that may cause problems over the years. In the 20 years I've been doing that with the cheap tape, no, I've not seen a problem, but that doesn't mean it can't occur later on down the road. So you want to avoid, whenever possible, using your regular masking tape like I have here from a hardware store, because it is not pH neutral. And like I said, it does leave residue behind. So this is not going, it's not as tacky. So when you get these, I've gotten them, oh, I do have it right here. Here's another one I have. This one is Pro Artist Tape is what this one is called. One of them I've gotten, I think I want to say Dick Blake, and then the other was from Amazon. I don't remember which, but it's a black artist masking tape, and you want something that says that it's pH neutral. That's what you're looking for there, but it's not going to have as high of a tack as your regular masking tape. Of course, you can use the blue masking tape, which is going to be less tacky. I don't like it. It doesn't have enough tack for me. So, and then that's also not pH neutral or acid free, so that would be a downside. Other tip, when you remove your tape, and it doesn't matter if you're working in colored pencil or like today we'll be working in graphite, when you pull the tape off the board, let me scoot this over to make sure you can see, and this is very important for everybody. Do not, see how here I'm pulling away? This is what you want to do. Pull away from the paper. Never pull towards. When you pull in, if there's a tiny little tear that you may not have even seen, or this may cause the tear because it's gripping too much, if you pull in, you may rip into the artwork. That's a big deal. Always, always, always pull away. The other thing, don't leave your tape on longer than needed. I wouldn't recommend. I mean, there have been times where I had tape because I put a project to the side, came back 6 months later, and then when you try to remove it when you're done with the project, that tape has sat there for so long, the adhesive is just too much. If you have that happen, take a hair dryer and just heat it. Just lightly heat that, and that will usually melt the adhesive a little bit so that you can, again, pull. And like I said, away. Always pull the tape away from the artwork. So those, hopefully those tips will help you out. Okay, so let's see, get caught up on a couple of other questions before we get started. I've got all kinds of charcoal sitting here waiting to go. Let's see. If you guys, especially those of you on Patreon, and I think this may be what I do for some of the questions that I'm like, oh, that's going to take forever for me to type a response. So I'll do it later and then I never get to it. I may start doing those at the beginning of some of these live streams just to, and then I can let the person know who asked which live stream they can find that on. That may be a much easier way to go. Let's see. Thanks, Joseph. Paul said, so I just received my 20 set of luminance and I couldn't even touch it. Oh, no, what? Oh, are you afraid to? People do this all the time. I do it myself too. You get something new and you're like, I don't want to mess them up. They're too beautiful. My easel was one of the worst. I've got tape all over this to try to protect it from getting too much paint on it. It's an easel. It's going to get paint on it. Get over it. I can't. I just can't. It was like such a big deal for me to get this easel. So I get it. Totally get it. Jessica Art Restraint said, really excited about this one. Yay. Whoop, that's roll. Yeah, we're good. Irritated Paintbrush said, hi, Lisa, can you give tips on how to paint realistic rainbow in acrylics if you don't have an airbrush? Glazes. Thin down paint and glazes, you want them to be transparent. So we should why don't we do that as an upcoming, maybe we'll do that next Friday. I try to do a pencil medium on Fridays, so since we're doing acrylic right now, but that's going to be a good one. So let's go acrylic rainbow for next Friday. In acrylics, all glazing, no airbrush. And what I may do is show you how to do it with an airbrush and show you how to do it without. So we'll kind of cover both because it's super fast. So that's going to be my plan for next Friday, because I think that's, as much as I don't want to do 2 acrylics for the, I think it's a good one. I like that suggestion. So yes, my tips are, be here Friday. I'll walk you through a project with one. Hi, Anne. Let's see, Alexandra said, hello, can you please do a lion in oils on Patreon or YouTube like the koala? Yeah, let me write that down as an upcoming. I haven't done a lion in a while. Lion in oils for Patreon. Right now I'm starting, no, you can't see it. I've got a 12-inch by 36-inch long canvas that I'm going to be doing sea turtles on in oil over acrylic. And then I'll do a pencil project after that. And then the next one I'll do something with a lion. I have not done one in a very long time. So yes, I like it. Let's see. Art of Griffin. God, I didn't read all that. Sorry. Art of Cayenne Griffin. I hope I said that right. Grifflin. I can't. It's too little. My font is teeny tiny and I can't see anything. Sorry. Said, I'm currently trying to draw a red panda and can't get the sketch correctly at all. I asked on a Facebook group and people gave me tips. I would like to see what you suggest. Couple of things. One, if you want to freehand it, try tracing it a few times and then freehand it. Then trace it a few times and freehand it so that you really get to where you're teaching your brain to see what's there accurately. Another thing, when you draw, huge drawing tip here, when you draw something, you can make little marks, check your work against itself. So if I look on my reference photo and I know the distance between here and here is the same as, well, the same as here and here, and here and here should match up. Check your work against itself like that. So you look at your reference photo, the distance between the nose and the eye is the same as the distance between the ear and this tuft of hair. You know, check your work against itself like that for accuracy. The other thing you can do is use a projector or trace it. I see students progress faster if they're if they're drawing accurately from the beginning, even if that means tracing. You're teaching your brain to see it accurately instead of making the same mistakes over and over and over again. I've been teaching this method, for a year. I've been teaching for 20 years. I've been teaching that method for probably 15 years. It is amazing the difference in a student who traces something, how quickly they learn to freehand, versus the student who only freehand has a tendency to make the same mistake again and again and again and again. And it's like they're not progressing as fast as the student who was tracing things. The goal of tracing is not to forever have to trace things in order to be able to draw. Not at all. But that can start getting your brain to understand and notice things that it just didn't notice before. So that would be another option for you. Let's see. Lottie said, when working in colored pencil on pastel mat, I'm getting a lot of wax bloom. It looks like fine from a distance, but up close, I can see little cloudy spots. I'm using luminance and polys. Those don't typically give you wax bloom. I have never seen that on pastel mat. Trying to think. You may get gloss bits, but I've never, where it looks a little glossier, where it's heavier, but I've never experienced the wax bloom. Maybe somebody else has and can give you some tips. And especially with those two pencils, it's just not something I've experienced. They're not prone to it. So I can't give you much information because I've not seen it myself, but maybe somebody else has experienced it and can give you some tips there. I'm sorry. Sarah said, I love the look of charcoal, but I can't use it without finding it everywhere for at least a week. Yes, and that brings me to one of the ways I'm going to help prevent this. 1 second. I need some paper towels. So I'm going to take these paper towels and fold them in half and stuff them under my drawing board. The drawing board, just the weight of that will hold these in place, and this helps my easel not to be super dirty. I find when I don't do this, I'm super prone. You could just wipe it down after, but I always forget, and then it ends up on the painting I'm going to be working on later. So what I've got, I'm going to adjust the camera for just a second so you can see this, which is going to mess everything up. This is just a paper towel. There we go. You can see the paper towel is just sitting under there, and this is going to catch most of the fallout as I work. It sticks out from the easel, and that should help me to not have such a mess, which is, for me, is a big deal because I'm working in many mediums, and like tonight I'm starting that acrylic paint. Can't tell you how many times my brush has touched the easel where I didn't do this, and it pulled that black up into the painting. Did it ruin anything? No, but it's a pain in the butt. So that's what I do to help with that. You can also mist this with a little bit of water and it sticks even better when you get the fallout. I'm too lazy for that, but it's an option. Let's see. I know what you mean. It's almost like the glitter of the craft world. It's just it's everywhere. And I do that where I'll find it on my hands, and then I've got it on I didn't notice it on my hands, and then it ends up on my white kitchen cabinets because I opened the door. Everywhere. But that's one of the things that helps. Mouse Potato said, what charcoals are you using, please? So today I am going to be using a combination. I bought a bunch of different General's compressed charcoal sticks. So they look like this. These little sticks. And which one is this? This is 6B. So we're going to be starting with that today. I also have a bunch of these pencils. So what I like better, at least from when I used to use charcoal pencils, it's been years, but I mean, until the one we did recently. I like these where you can pull the string to basically continuously sharpen the pencil instead of trying to run it through a pencil sharpener. Charcoal is extremely brittle. I'm going to get charcoal over my face today every time I scratch it, but it's extremely brittle. And so the normal charcoal pencils are just a pain. They break continuously. Whereas this, I find it, at least from what I remembered, I used to love these. These are the Peel and Sketch charcoal. These are also by Generals. So I went with Generals for everything just because it's what I used to use and I knew it worked fine for me then. So that's why, but I'm not going to say this is the best charcoal pencil and what you should run out and buy. They're just what I've used before and I was okay with them, but I don't use them often enough that I could give you a definite, like, honest opinion. These are the best. This is what you should go. It's charcoal. I mean, it's not that picky. Let's see. I'm trying to go through a few of these questions before we get started here. Where are we? Sergio said, working on a commissioned portrait alongside you makes it feel more entertaining for sure. Have you considered an upcoming graphite tutorial? Maybe a cat snake, a ferret. A cat snake? I like the idea. Hold on. I'm writing your guys' ideas down today. You guys are giving me some good ones. You want a ferret and graphite. Okay. Written down. I like the idea. AC Gracie Potat said, any tips for drawing portraits with a live model? Get them to hold still and draw fast. Actually, I really like charcoal for live drawings because you can do so much so quickly and kind of manipulate that into doing what you want. I really like charcoal for working with live models, but I never really did that much live drawing at all. You draw fast, and the thing is, when you first start doing it, it's going to feel very awkward. Like, you want to sit, like for me, I'm used to spending hours and hours and hours just on the eye and the nose, you know, just forever. You're not really going to do that with a live model typically. So it's going to teach you to kind of get to the point and get there quickly. So that's a good thing. But in the beginning, it's going to feel very awkward and you're going to feel like, I can't do this. Work through it. You'll get there. It takes practice. It's almost a different skill set than when you're working from a photograph. You've got to kind of teach your brain to work a little bit differently. You will get there, but it will feel very awkward in the beginning. And if you are used to working from photograph, it's going to feel extra awkward in the beginning because you're basically going to be taking a few steps back. You'll feel like, okay, I'm at level 5 working from a photograph, and you start working from a live model and you're like, why am I now a level 2 out of 10? Like, why did I just drop back? That's normal. Work through it. You've got to, build up those live drawing muscles, or I don't know. I'm bad at making examples, but that's a normal feeling. So that part I can tell you, but I don't really have tips other than be patient and just keep doing it. You will get better the more you do it. It's really good practice. George said, cool. I'm not too late. I'll be getting ready to do my next colored pencil painting. Nice. Lottie said, maybe wax bloom isn't the right word, but I feel like the pigment sits more on top and becomes glossy. I do see where it comes glossy, so that I've experienced. It doesn't bother me. And cloudy, especially in the dark areas, pastel matte with polys and luminance. Yeah, I've just not seen that, but I'm wondering if it needs more layers, if that would make a difference for you. It doesn't typically take very many layers with that. It gets dark quick. It really, the pigment sticks to it so well. So if you're blending out with OMS, it gets really dark really fast. But it also could lift if you're using too much OMS. So I'm wondering if and that I did find with that, you do not need nearly as much OMS on pastel matte as I might use on like a watercolor paper. So that might be it too. Let's see. Adam said, hi Lisa, I've been having troubles scaling photos up from my phone to paper, usually 12 by 16 or 4 by 18, correctly in a timely manner. Is there a quicker way to do this other than trial and error? I'm not sure what you mean by scaling up. That's just drawing it a different size. You can use a projector, of course, if you're really trying to save time, but scaling up, I don't think my brain is quite wrapping around the entirety of the situation here. Like scaling up from your phone, do you mean just it's a small photo and you're trying to draw it larger? You may draw it small and then use a projector again to draw it. Like let's say you don't want to trace things, because some artists don't like to do that. You could draw it small and then use a projector to project it onto a larger scale. You might try the grid method, might be helpful for you, even if it's simple grids, like maybe 8 boxes instead of 200 like some people will do. That may be a way to help you to keep your proportions right. So maybe try that. Vladimir said, I always find my work with certain dirty spots. I finish work and then somehow it gets dirty. Have any tips? I dislike fingerprints, especially on charcoal piece. just be careful. That's really it. Just being careful and being aware of where you're putting your hands and where you're resting your hands. Keeping a clean piece of paper under your hand is works or as you work, but that I would go with glassine, not regular paper. So what happens with charcoal? Charcoal smudges so easily, which is a good and a bad thing. But if I've got a little charcoal here and my paper alone can smudge it if that was sitting there resting, for my hand. So glassine, that's less likely to have happen. So that would be my thing there, but just being careful. Let's see. So Maya said, what size is the rose you were working on? The paper is about an 8x10, kind of. Okay, are we almost caught up on questions? Jessica said, I saw your prints on your site. Do you print your own prints? What printing services that online you would recommend? Thanks. I'm currently using Fine Art America. I'm not sure if I'm going to recommend them anymore. We'll see how this goes, if I can log in. And I'm not the only one, as it turns out. Their website's been messed up for months, where you can't log in and you can't reset your code. I'm still getting paid when somebody buys a print, but I can't upload new prints, and they're not contacting anybody who contacts them. So I found, I'm going to go ahead. This is the 6B, so it's a really dark one. I'm going to get my background just loosely put in here. But I found that I could log in and reset my password on my phone. I haven't tried to then log in back on the desktop, so I do need to try that. But yeah, Fine Art America is what I've always used and what I recommended. I don't print on my own. That's a very expensive endeavor, and it takes a lot of time to get everything shipped out, so I just don't have time for that. So Fine Art America had always worked real well because they're a print on demand. If somebody orders it, they go ahead and take care of that. They ship it out. Now I don't know what's going on, and I don't understand why their customer service is not responding to anybody who I know. I commented on one of their posts, and a few people had commented that they were having problems, and Fine Art America wasn't helping anybody. So, kind of an issue. Now, this pencil here, this one is a 6B. This is listed as extra smooth. I think extra soft is more. Do I have a soft? What do I have? I have extra smooth. Extra smooth. Is that what I got for everything? Okay, I think everything is extra smooth on these ones. And so what I'm going to do now is grab hold on one second. We've got a few ways we can do this. I really like these guys. Not that one. This is the one I want. So I'm going to use the soft tools, SOFFT tools, and we can just smudge that out. I can do a few layers if I need to, if it's not dark enough, which it is not. Now these extra smooth, they are not nearly as messy as the charcoal blocks I remember using back in my youth. It's been a long time. I really do not do charcoal often anymore because of it being messy, but these ones are not nearly as messy. I'm working on the rough side of the Canson Mi-teintes. But you don't have to use the same supplies I'm using. Grab whatever you have. This is more of a practice thing. I'm not trying to make some end of the world, crazy piece that everyone's going to ooh and ah over. We're just making something pretty here, and I'm just going to let it kind of softly fade out in the edges. I'm not going to take the time to try to go around all of those. I'm going to put another layer of this. I thought I got some softer ones too. You should have seen me earlier before the live stream. I never even posted to Facebook. If one of you guys can post to our art group on Facebook and MeWe, that would be awesome. I ran out of time because I couldn't find any of my charcoal materials. Like I could not, they don't have their own dedicated space like all of my other supplies, so they're just kind of floating all mixed in with everything, and I could not, I found these, but I couldn't find the pencils. So yeah, that took a lot of time earlier, me trying to figure out where I put everything. I think I'm going to order another 3-drawer pastel box, which is what I keep my colored pencils in. And that's going to be for the charcoal supply, since I've apparently decided recently I like charcoal again. One of the main reasons initially that I stopped working in charcoal too much is I didn't have a good way to store it. Now I've got those boxes. So the way that I store the unfinished or finished before it's framed, unframed charcoal pieces, I've got these boxes. I want to say I got them from Jerry's, but they're an acid-free, pH neutral. It's an art storage box. And so I put the one charcoal piece, put a piece of glassine, put the next charcoal piece, a piece of glassine, so nothing's really smudging or getting too messy. But that has worked out really well for me in storage. And so now I have a storage solution because I can't frame. I couldn't afford, and that was the big thing in the beginning. I couldn't afford to frame stuff. So I'm like, what am I going to do with all this work? It's going to get ruined. And I stopped using it. And then it's somewhere along the line, I got neurotic about things being dirty, touching my hands. And so that's how I stopped using charcoal. But these seem not nearly as bad as what I remember using. The smooth ones seem to be a little bit of a harder charcoal. Let's see. Jason said, Lisa, which is better, Luminance or Pablo for working with other oil-based pencils? I like Luminance. I'm not a huge Pablo person. I like them for final details, but they're not, I don't even own a full set of Pablo. I've got a few of them and I like them for final details, especially working on sanded paper with powder blender. But as far as like working with my regular techniques on a hot press watercolor paper, I'm not a huge fan of the Pablos. They just aren't great for my techniques. I'm not saying they're bad. They're just not quite right for my techniques. And I've seen artists do amazing work with them. They're good for final details. I guess they stay sharper, but I'd rather have Luminance, like hands down. Getting that nice soft look there. Okay. Now I've got these pencils and I've got multiple, so I don't even have these sorted because they don't have their own little box yet. These ones again are that Peel and Sketch Charcoal by Generals. This one is hard. These three are all hard, so let's put that aside. What else do I have? Here's a medium, hard, medium, and these ones are soft. So in theory, if I remember correctly, the soft is going to be darker if it's like graphite. I guess we'll find out. We'll do a little test on a scratch piece of paper. Let's see. Got a sketch pad down here. So we've got the soft. We've got medium. And then we've got hard. As far as the darkness, they're all pretty dark. Yeah, the hard is likely going to be better for the smaller details, and let's see how they smudge out. I don't notice a huge difference, honestly. I was expecting a little bit of a different difference, a little bit more obvious difference. I'm not seeing it. See, this is one of the things that happens, and this is one of the things you want to watch when you watch artists making product reviews. Make sure that artist is very, very familiar with the supply that they're reviewing. Right now, I mean, I can walk you through drawing a charcoal thing. I'm not super familiar with charcoals anymore. So if I'm sitting, you get artists, and I see this all the time, and they'll argue with me that, no, you're wrong. Your opinion on that colored pencil is wrong. Performance is the same. And it's like, you've not done, if that artist has not done that many pieces, and that doesn't mean that their pieces weren't stunning, but if they have not done very many, it's very hard for them to notice subtle differences from one pencil to the next. And that's what I just saw here. I'm like, oh, they all look the same to me. I'm just not seeing a big difference because I'm not super familiar with graphite anymore. And watch that when you're watching reviews. Make sure that the artist, not just that they've created a pretty drawing and that they can do pretty drawings, how many colored pencil pieces have they done, or how many of whatever medium. Like with me, I've done, God, at this point, probably thousands of colored pencil pieces, and I'm not exaggerating. So many of them that subtle differences I'm going to notice in those pencils. Somebody who's only done 10, they're not going to notice the subtle differences as much. And so that makes it a little harder, I think, for those reviews. Just be aware of that when you're watching reviews. It's the same thing, like I've been watching a ton of plant videos, and it's like, okay, you have the easiest plant in the world to keep alive. I'm not sure you're noticing subtle differences between different fertilizers, between different potting soils, between whatever. Like, you're not so experienced, like you've not dealt with that many plants. You have 10 beautiful plants, but 10 versus the person who has been working at a nursery and has dealt with hundreds is going to notice things more, if that makes sense. So watch that. Okay. Scrolling back down. What is Fine FFA? FFA is Fine Art America. It's a print-on-demand website. So, and they have more than, like, you can buy posters, you can buy prints on canvas, you can buy a coffee mug with a painting on it. Like, you've got all kinds of options with them. But yeah. Oh, good. Thanks. Nick said he posted this on MeWe this morning in Facebook group just now. Thank you so much, because apparently I can't do my own job. Austin's Art said, I don't blame you for stopping. The charcoal is so messy. It's like the messy dark side paints. Let's see. It's Your Girl Angel said, I'm new to the live stream. Welcome. Veek said, sorry I'm tardy. Don't worry, we're just getting started. Which paper types brand do you recommend for charcoal? So that's what I was saying before. I don't necessarily have a brand, a type. I'm not so experienced with charcoal anymore. This is what I used to use years ago, and this was just all that was available. So that's why I used it. I never really tried a bunch of different charcoals. I right now can't tell you what I think is the best. I can tell you I'm working on the rough side of the Canson Mi-teintes. I kind of like it right now. I need to try it again on the smooth side and find out which I really prefer. In theory, I should like the rougher side better, but we'll see. So I can't give you a, this is the best. I mean, it's charcoal. It's just, I don't think it's that picky, but maybe I'll change my mind when I try a few more brands. So yeah, I know that's not super helpful and that's not the answer you're looking for. I just can't tell you right now, and I don't want to give you false information. I'm lacking the experience a little bit right now. I'm very, I did not tear that right. I'm very out of practice with these. Hold on one second. I'm having technical difficulties on sharpening my pencil. There we go. So with this, just ripping that out so I get a little bit more of a point there. And this is why I chose these versus different pencils when I worked last week and had a few carbon pencils or whatever, we did the forest. That's what reminded me of, oh yeah, I freaking hate sharpening pencils. We're buying these ones again. Let's see. Jason said, good to know. That is what I'm going to purchase. Cool. Yeah, you can't go wrong with luminance. They're awesome. George said, I'll be using a sheet of the pricey Arches 140 hot press watercolor pencil you use for colored pencil. Can you confirm you like the back side? The side watercolor is really smooth. Honestly, with the hot press watercolor paper, front or back, they're so similar. I don't really have a preference. Angel said, off topic, but what book series are you following now? Right now, I'm listening to Junkyard Cats by, is it Faith Hunter, I think is her name? I'm just going to start picking petals and blocking those in there. I'm not like super, I don't know if I'd tell anyone to run out and buy it. I think I got it for free. It's a short book. It's not one of her better books. I've read a few of her others that I really like, her other series. This one, I'm on the fence on this one right now. We'll see if it gets better. Right now, it doesn't make sense. I feel like I just came in the middle of a series and don't know what anything is going on, which a few of the reviewers said the same thing. So I know that one's not just me. So it's darker there. We're just gonna let this softly fade out. And I'm gonna have to find erasers at some point because I don't know where they are. I love erasers with charcoal, love them. But I don't apparently have any over here. You can use several things to blend your charcoal. You can use your fingers. You can use blending stumps, which I'm going to use here. Gives a little bit of a smoother look. But yeah, that one is the one that I'm currently listening to. I'm reading right now the newest book just came out. I have to read it so I have to do it in smaller chunks because it's not on Audible yet. Annette Marie's Guild Codex books. I'm currently reading one of those, like reading, not Audible reading. And those are always good. All her books are amazing. If you need a good like fantasy type thing, any of the Annette Marie. I've not read her Red Winter books, but The Steel and Stone, love those. Like so many of her books are so good. The Guild Codex, loving those. I'm trying to think which other one. It's an offshoot of that. That's really good. So these petals here are pretty dark. These really fade out into that background. So one of the things, if you are new to art, I often recommend students start with roses because you can't mess them up. They don't have to be exact and they're still gonna look like a rose. They're great for beginners, like so great for beginners. If you've got a petal in the wrong place, no one's gonna know the difference. You draw a person and the eye's not quite exactly right, everyone's gonna know the difference. So that can be very discouraging, especially when you're big. Oh, John Galt is here. Where are my erasers? I really thought I was more prepared than this today. Oh, here we go. These can work. Hold on one second. I will. Oh, what are you? You're not going to work. Let me grab some more erasers. I don't have those over here. Jason's on his back with his legs in the air. Okay, a couple tips on our erasers. I really like these ones, these gray, the Faber-Castell, or any brand really, Generals has them, these gray kneaded erasers. Those are nice. These, not so much. Avoid any pink erasers. Pink, purple, the color like that. Sometimes you're erasing and you'll get a streak of pink you cannot get rid of. And if you're working in graphite or anything that needs to stay black and white, good luck hiding that. So avoid those. Anything, these ones are pretty good. These vanish erasers are nice. When I want to get detail, I should have some in here, hopefully. Yeah, no, that's not it. Crap, it's not in here. When I want to get detail, I like the ones that are in a shape of a pencil, not the Faber-Castell ink eraser for this. That would not be my choice. Okay, where are those? Hold on one second. I'll show you the ones I like. There we go. I'm just going to bring both of these over here and hope I can find my Tombow mono eraser because I'm going to want that today for details. This sort works really well. This one's by Staedtler, and see, it's white, which is very important. And I can cut it with a razor blade to get a finer point if I need to, if I can't find my Tombow mono eraser. Oh, here we go. We've got this one's actually really good. Another Stanford eraser. This is Tough Stuff eraser stick. This one's great. That's going to work really well for us today. And if I can find my Tombow mono, I will use that. If not, the Tough Stick will be fine. I don't need that much detail in this one, but the Tombow mono eraser, I really like both. I've got the round one and the more square one. I like the round one better. Where can I put this that I won't knock it over and break everything? Looks like a good spot. Let's see what I've got in this one. Nope, nothing in here. Okay. I bet the Tombow mono eraser is like right in front of me in these cups. Welcome to staring at my forehead. Oh, there it is. Okay, good. And then, of course, the Tombow mono eraser, which is one of my favorites for details. So one of the ways that I like to work with charcoal is to make everything kind of dark and then pull up my highlights. It's just how I like, I love it. Okay, let's see. Where were we? I scrolled way too far. Okay, Tallulah said, this is my first time ever using charcoal and I've got the fear of the mess already freaking me out. It cleans up. I mean, it's not the end of the world. It just, you know, wash your hands. Well, you should be washing your hands anyway, but wash your hands before you go to the store because there's a good chance you're going to get it all over your face or, you know, check that you don't have fingerprints all over. That's always fun to get home and realize you were a hot mess. Caitlin Creative Art said, hi Lisa, what's the best way to spray fixative on artwork? When it's laying flat or should it be up on a board, specifically charcoal work? I always spray up on a board. I'm not gonna say that's best. That's just what I do. So it's kind of falling down and not like down. Personal preference, just how I do it. Any plans to do a portrait in colored pencil on pastel mat? I need to. That's a good idea. Let's write that down as a thing I need to do. Where are my other pencils? I am losing everything. Seriously, one of these days I'm going to clean my studio. Maybe. I don't want to write it in charcoal. It's going to be... Oh, here we go. I can use this. You want a portrait on pastel mat. Okay, that is on my to-do list. Let's see. Lottie said, okay, that was that one. Let's see. Good evening from Italy. I am loving your braids and I am sure I will love the rose once it's done as well. Thank you. Jason said, Lisa, I only use pencils that you're using because that's what they used in my college class. They're so much easier. George said, thank you for answering my Arches paper question. You're welcome. Thanks for asking it. I'm a dork. Let's see. HS said, a bit off topic, I guess, but what is the difference between hot press watercolor paper and cold press watercolor paper? So what I'm using now, the texture is closer to cold press watercolor paper. I don't know if you can see the little bumpy bits in that. That's not what this is, by the way, but it kind of looks like that. The cold press watercolor paper is more rough, whereas the hot press is going to be very, very smooth, which I like better for details. But for watercolor, cold press is really nice too. For colored pencil, not at all. If you're working in colored pencil, you want to go with hot press. We want smooth in colored pencil. Heather said, I can say I have that I have tried, but charcoal is just too much. I cannot deal with the feeling, even with soft tools. Yeah, I understand. And it's not been, like, I've been doing weirdly okay with them. This doesn't seem to be bugging me as much as pastels do. Dee Dee Fletcher said, I am so glad you're using that charcoal pencil. I have some and I don't know how to use. Thanks for doing the live stream. You're welcome. Richard said, I recently bought a Mono Zero eraser and they are wonderful. Literally an undo button for pencils. Yes. Jessica said, did you find a name for your new plant in the end? Which one? This guy is John Galt. Which new plant? I have so many new plants right now. I don't know which one. But that one is John Galt. Let's see. Angel said, just remembered back in 2006, my classmate's dad is a painter who paints by using toxic paint thinner and printing a photo reference. Quite expensive and not quality. Must be hard then. Let's see. Dee Dee Fletcher said, yes, please do a portrait. I would love to learn how to do faces. Jason said, oh yeah, how are Frog Legs home going? Their names are not going to be Frog Legs. It's not happening. I haven't had an update since Monday when I talked to him, so I don't know. He said he was going to update me with plants and such when he got those, but I haven't heard anything yet. So I am waiting for those updates. For those of you who don't know, I'm getting some red-eyed tree frogs. Let's see, you curve in that way. And I'm having a vivarium, so a bioactive vivarium, so it's very natural. Is being built for them right now. I'm super excited. Phyllis said, I had the cutest baby bunny born last week in my garden. Their ears are like an inch long, so cute. How about them Inktense or acrylics? Baby, oh, bunnies, they're so cute. Actually, right before the live stream, so this made me a little late not paying attention too, there's a baby mockingbird out in my flower bed out back. Luckily, like this is the safest place. He can't fly yet, so he came out of a nest. He probably should still be in a nest, but his parents are coming down and feeding him. Safest place in the world for him to be because the dogs aren't allowed in that area, and we don't have, he can hide from predators pretty well there, and there's no cats in the area. So it's a pretty good area for him. If he had to fall and get lost, he sure chose a good spot. So, and I've got it's like this really, really shallow bowl full with water for the baby frogs that are out there. So he's even got a spot to drink if he needs water. So I'm going to keep an eye on him to make sure he doesn't wander into the grass where the dogs will get him. But yeah, I saw that. So cute. Little bird who he puts his wings up and it's like, oh, you definitely can't fly yet. You should not be out of your nest. But I don't know which nest he came from, so I'm just going to let his parents take care of him and kind of keep an eye on that as long as he's in my yard. Let's see. Andy said, it would be great if you could do a portrait in acrylics too. Yeah, I don't like acrylics for portraits. I mean, I can do them. They're just not my favorite medium. I think oils, every other medium, I think I like better than acrylics for portraits. Just the way that they blend. But that can happen. We can do that. They're fast, so that's a bonus. So anywhere where I want it to be lighter, gosh, I've got so many options with erasers. My whole thing is filled with them now. Let's see. JPC13 said, you should listen to the Stormlight Archives series. It's an epic fantasy series. Each audiobook is 40 plus hours long. The first book is called The Way of Kings. I think I own that. I think I got that and I just haven't listened to it yet. I'm almost positive that's in my Audible library. It's on my to listen to list for sure. That's good to hear that you like it though. That makes me more interested in going ahead and listening. To get my shavings or little marks away, I'm just going to take a clean paintbrush and kind of wipe those off. And I'll need to rinse this paintbrush because it's one I use as a mop brush for acrylics. I will wash this out before I use it for acrylics because it will leave black smudges wherever I've used on this. And I have somewhere the ones you're supposed to use, like what are they? The architecture brush type thing that for brushing away any eraser marks, but I don't know where mine is right now. So I'm just using a paintbrush. Better don't use your hand. You'll smudge everything. How do I blend graphite without making it look patchy? So one of the ways that graphite will look patchy is people will jump to the darkest pencil they have too early on, and so you get that grainy, gritty look. I would start with your lighter pencils, like your 4H, your 2H, and slowly build up to your darker ones by light layers. Don't push very hard. That's another thing that'll look blotchy. But honestly, practice. The more you paint and draw, the more you work with them, the more you're going to get a feel for preventing that. A lot of it's just practice and technique. Like you have to, there's no magic like this is how to do it. But blending from your light to your dark and not pushing hard, like a lot of light layers, that can really, really help. There's a bug. There's no longer a bug. Let's see. Jennifer said, OMG, my hands are a mess. My brain is lost in the petals. I'm not going to give it. It looks like a mess so far. I'm already mixing pan pastels and soft pastels. I don't know. Arches 140. Let's see. AM said, that's how baby birds fledge. Mom and dad will still take care of him as he learns to fly. Yeah, I've not seen one that little. Like, I'll see the young ones out. This guy's the littlest one I've seen. As long as mom and dad are taking care of him, obviously he's fine. And he's in a good spot for it, that's for sure. It's so cute. Paul John said, just saw Sophie Turner, Sansa Stark in LA. She's pregnant now. Okay. So random. Cat's Art Pick said, is this the correct address to send the letter to? P.O. Box, Coppell, Texas. You're missing the P.O. Box. You'll need to get that. I don't have, oh wait, I do have it. Hold on. It's P.O. Box 3064, Coppell, Texas 75019. Yes. Make sure you get the P.O. Box in there though. Let's see. Lottie said, do you have a time of day that you absolutely wouldn't paint or draw? For me, it's the morning. Yeah, I don't like to paint. I don't like to work in the morning. Jason said, I have the whole series so far. Brandon is just getting done with the next to be published in the near future. He does the Starlight, right? It's the same, wait, The Way of Kings. That was, now I'm getting all the books mixed up. I know there's one I have not read yet. There's a whole series I have not read yet of his. But the Starlight one, I think, was he the author of that? It was so good. Yeah, Starlight, something with stars. I love that. I'm waiting for that next one. Shelly said, hi Lisa, 2-part question. Can you achieve a dark black with graphite? I'm finishing up a graphite and polychromos colored pencil piece. Should I apply a fixative to seal it? Yes, you need to get a fixative that works for both graphite and colored pencil. It'd probably be a good idea. I always seal my graphite before I send those. I don't with my colored pencil, but with graphite, I do think it's a good idea to help it from smudging and such. So look into that and definitely test it on the same type of paper you're using with the same pencils you're using. Do a sample there and see how that comes out, because some pencils don't play nicely with some fixative. So you definitely want to test that first. But yeah, I would seal it. Can you achieve dark black with graphite? You're going to get a darker black with a water soluble graphite. Dark black with graphite, it's more dark charcoal. It's not black like this. It's a different black. You can get really dark, but not black. Not as black as a colored pencil would be, or as black as a charcoal would be. Let's see. Veek said, hand holding here, the flower in the reference photo has next to no shadow. I think the way to get values to run through a photo editor grayscale, my painting looks flat. The flower in the reference photo has next to no shadow. I think that, I'm not sure what you're asking. I'm sorry. D. Lynn Creative Art said, I can see you a few years from now crammed in a small portion of your studios. You adopt more animals and they take over. They're not going in the studio. Only the greyhounds are in the studio. Gibson's still on his back. See, I'll be fine. It's fine. It'll be fine. Cat's Art Pick said, thanks for the P.O. Box number. Yeah, 3064. I never remember the number. My husband's the one who goes and collects stuff from me there. Or for me there. So when I go in with him, I'm like, I always feel like I'm there for the first time. Like, I have no idea what my box is. Okay. And I'm intentionally going a little too dark on the areas that I want to be light, because I'm going to use the eraser to lighten them back up. Let's just get a base in here for a lot of this. Now I'm doing a few petals at a time. If that starts getting overwhelming for you, break it down and do one petal start to finish. And I meant to mention this earlier, but I forgot. So these live streams are also art chats. If you are like, you talk too much, which thanks. It's a live stream art chat. That's how that works. But if that is not for you, you may like my Patreon videos. With Patreon, those are just straightforward, only art. There's no stories. We're not chatting. That's what Patreon is, a 1 to 2 hour video, sometimes longer, that is just nothing but the art lesson itself. So if that is something that you are looking for, check that out. It's patreon.com/Lachri. There's a new lesson every single week. Yeah, there you go. I'm just gonna lightly go over that. I can still kind of see my lines. Let's see. I don't care if the petals are exact. It makes zero difference to me. I'll just get a little in here. It just kind of starts twisting and turning as we get into the inside. And I'm just kind of mapping out approximately where my petals are. Hold on 1 second. Here we go. Angel said, "You're right with the excuse some would make for a realistic piece. I have looked up sand chalk paintings on the street and they're spectacular. Thank you." Jason said, "When you get the red-eyed tree frogs, can you put pictures of them so that I can use them for a reference?" Yeah, they will be Patreon reference photos for sure. Like, for sure. Sergey said, "How do you like the Canson paper for charcoal?" Yeah, I'm loving it. This is great. I want to try the other side and see which I prefer still. Nina said, "I've been wanting to tell you about the book series for the longest time, Fred the Vampire Accountant." I've heard about that one. I want to say I started reading it, but I didn't finish. Or maybe I just read the preview and never went into it. I'm going to have to look into that. SHS said, "Any tips to draw a rose properly? Because every time I draw a rose, it looks like a confused lettuce." Try tracing it several times. And it's funny because I talk about tracing all the time, but roses were one of the things that I would usually start a student with on tracing. Trace it 10 times, then freehand it once. Then trace it another time, 10 times, then freehand it. Go back and forth, tracing, freehanding, tracing, freehanding. What you're going to try to do there, or the goal, is to teach your brain to notice the things it's not currently noticing. Right now, it thinks a rose should look like a lettuce. So just keep drawing or tracing it, and then freehand it after multiple times. So again, the goal is not just to learn how to trace. The goal is to start teaching your brain to see what's really there. Because right now, your brain is not seeing it. Okay, I'm going to pull some more highlights out. Where's my mono? We can use that for the smaller areas. We've got the tough one. Again, I do not care if these are exact. It does not make a difference. It's still going to look like a rose. This is one of the reasons that I so often have students start with roses, because you don't have to be exact. So you get to feel that gratification of, yay, I made something that looks pretty and it looks like a rose and I'm so proud of myself, without, like, you know, when you're first starting, you want those wins. You want to feel confident in, like, I made something and it looked cool. Whereas if you were to start with like a portrait or something super detailed, that's not going to necessarily give you that feeling right off the bat. So we're just pulling out some highlights in here. I'm just going to work back and forth. Switch to my kneaded eraser for the larger areas. Meek said, my paintings of, whoop, that just scrolled. Where did you go? Come back. My painting of a rose and environment looks flat because original photo has Even light source, no shadows. How can I correct this? Photo editor, better photo. If your photo is flat, I mean, the photo editor maybe can help, but if there's nothing for the photo editor to see, you may just need a better photo. Jennifer said, sorry, so random, my hands are messy. I switched to general charcoal pencils, taking one petal at a time. So helpful to not put in darks first. Or just so helpful to put in darks first. Nice. Let's see, when it comes to colored pencil portrait, luminance, is it better to go dark to light or light to dark? I struggle with my transition between highlight and shadow. I typically go mid-range. That way I can make things darker and lighter as needed. So it's not always dark to light, always light to dark. I usually start kind of in the middle and then darken and lighten from there. Do I love double shot espresso? That's too much caffeine for me. I love the taste of it, but it would make me really sick. I can't handle that much caffeine at all. Love the taste though. But I have issues with my adrenal glands, and that level of caffeine would cause some serious issues for me. I'm missing, let's see, you came here. You came here. Okay, you've got an area that kind of comes out. We'll just throw you in there. And I'm missing a whole section right here. Let's see. We'll make you go here and then here. I don't know, something like that. Now the soft tools, I feel like it doesn't remove as much of the graphite, or not graphite, the charcoal from the paper, whereas these blending stumps, in the beginning when they're a little bit more new, they tend to remove more graphite. So it can have a tendency to make it a little bit lighter than you might want it to be. Elf said, oh, come back, Elf. Said, are you still doing the podcast with John? I am not. I stopped doing that in... I think he kicked me out and like he just didn't need my help anymore, I guess. It was a weird conversation, but I think that was in October. He wanted me to come on occasion and I was like, no, I'm either in or out. So I declined to do anymore. Lisa said, any tips about using the different reference photos for the same animal? For example, if you're going to use one photo for the head, one for the front legs, and one for the rest of the body, you better make sure they're all the same angle or that's going to be a weird looking dog. Or whatever it is, they all have to be the exact same perspective, so that can make it very, very difficult. All-in-One Fact said, hi, I'm just saying with picture will be next after this picture is complete. Huh? I don't know what you're asking. It will be a rose. I'm sorry. Let's see, Cat's Art Paint said, I have a spinal injury and have to watch how much I paint and draw. How do you deal with pain in your hand? For me, I'm pretty lucky. I'm, for the most part, the more I paint and draw, usually the better it is. The exceptions for me is if I'm doing something where I'm putting a lot of pressure, like colored pencil, that can start to bug it. So I switch mediums back and forth, like where acrylic is very low impact. Like there is not... yeah, acrylics are very easy on my hands. So, I mean, you're working with a paintbrush. You're not having to apply a bunch of pressure. So that working back and forth and switching mediums for me works really well. But it depends, you know, that's obviously not going to be the case for everybody. So I'm very lucky in that. When it comes to like colored pencil, where I'm trying to get a whole bunch done quickly, but my hand is like, nope, we're done. Sometimes I just have to take a break. Angel said, pardon me being random, but I just came from hilt practice. It's the endorphins kicking in. Hilt practice. What is hilt practice? Am I reading that wrong? So I'm just now going to start working up. This is where we start making things look good, paying attention to where are our lights in the darks. And if you need a bigger area, you can switch back to one of your bigger charcoals there. So this is working in charcoal, working in graphite, anything in black and white is a really, really good practice for getting a good understanding of your values, getting those darks dark enough, those lights light enough. So if you're in a place like you work with colored pencil or acrylic painting and you're like, I just can't make my work look better or realistic, I must, I need to know what colors people are using. That's what'll make it look more realistic. No, that's a pretty good sign that you need to work on your values. Do some black and white pieces like this. Really perfect getting your darks dark enough, lights light enough. That's what's going to make a really big difference in your work. It's great practice. Cat's Art Pig said, I know what you mean. Too much colored pencil work, it sets my hand off too. Thanks for the tip. Yeah, switching mediums, it is a lifesaver for me. And Angel said, I kind of want your rogue hairstyle, the blonde hair or strip. Yeah, I am trying to let that grow out. I need to dye it back to my natural color because it's like this far grown out now and it looks ridiculous when it's down. So yeah, I call it my COVID hair. Which isn't true because I dye my own hair. Like when I used that part bleached, I did that myself. And I dye the color to make it match my natural color. I will do that on my own. So it's not like I can't go I can't get to a hair salon. I wouldn't go to one anyway. But I like using it as an excuse. See, I shouldn't tell people that. I should just say it's COVID hair and people will assume it's because I'm waiting to go to a salon. Let's see. Jessica said, I remember reading somewhere that caffeine improves our memory. I don't know about me. Angel, oh, I got that one. And you will go through ugly stages where you look at this and go, I don't know what that looks like right now. It's okay. You're just going to keep layering until it does look good. Whoa, Gibson's laying like a normal dog now. Weird. Maybe I should take his temperature. Soften those out. And I just go back and forth. And the thing that's really nice with the charcoal, it erases so well. So if you go way too dark, no big deal at all. Sergi said, at some point you mentioned the Castle Earth color from Luminance being scratchy. Well, for the new 24 colors, set the Indian yellow color seems to be the off one, just so you know. It's so weird how some colors are like that. Dave said, hi, it's DJ from Discord. I'm glad to see you're trying the charcoal. I remember you used to hate how messy it is. Oh, I still hate how messy it is. But I had fun using it the other day we did that dark forest and it was so fun. And I'm like, fine, I'll do it more. I want to lighten that without making it too much. So I'm just going to press the kneaded eraser. See how I can get that softer transition there. Sometimes your finger is going to unfortunately blend better than any tools you have, which for those of us who don't like to be messy, that's unfortunate. Jason said, Lisa, do you need something for that memory situation? Yes, I do. My memory is horrible. Nina said, I don't know what I can tell you about Fred, the vampire accountant, without spoilers, but listening to the book for the third time, love your live streams. I will have to look into that then. Pat said, COVID masks are for people with COVID hair. No one knows who you are. Ahmed said, you are great, and I really like the way you are working with charcoal. Thank you. Okay, let's get some of these highlights in this section. That has to fade. I'm just going to kind of dab that eraser to lift that up. I don't want to smudge the eraser side to side. I would pull too much up. And I'm just going to reform that eraser as I need to get the shape I want. There we go. Let's see, this guy is way too dark. I went kind of crazy on him, didn't I? See where we want it a little bit more defined. I'll switch to a smaller eraser. I have another thing that's really cool. Here, does it say what it's called? A Giatos? I don't know. It's a little air blowy thing. So I can blow my erasers without having to actually blow on it. I always forget I have this thing. It's pretty handy. Angel said, "Can you do the light of seven on violin?" I don't even know what the light of 7 is. Let's see. Just set up a shop on Fine Art America. Followed you instantly. Thanks for letting me know about it. It's such a cool website. Yeah, I mean, I've used Fine Art America for years, and I had loved it. Like, I was really happy with them until recently. I just couldn't get into my website. I mean, I'd been trying since March. I want to say it was March to get into maybe it was April. I think it was March to get into my own account. Couldn't do it. They were still sending me payments, so I don't think my account had been hacked. I just couldn't get into it. And now I'm finding out from another friend of mine who's an artist. She couldn't get into hers, and she's having the same problem. And I'm like, wow, I was able to log in and get it to reset my password only on my phone. Would not work on the desktop. Both were with Chrome, so that was weird. I don't know what is going on with them, but they were also not responding to me when I sent messages, and I'm almost wondering if they even got the messages. If it was similar to their system where it wasn't sending the password recovery information. I wonder if it's the same for getting messages and they just don't even know this is going on. But then when I commented on their Facebook, like sent them a message that way, they wouldn't respond. I got the canned response like, oh, or you need to contact us through our website. Yeah, your website is not contacting me back. I've been trying for months. I commented on a print, like they do the promos of like, oh, here's a print that's available. I commented on that, and somebody else had commented they were having the same problem. So it's something's going on with their website they need to fix, and I don't even know if they're aware of it, but they're not responding even on Facebook. And I'm like, okay, I know you saw that message. So I'm not saying they're the best in the world right now. I don't know what's going on, but I do know they're still paying me when somebody orders a print. So like they're not down. I don't know what's going on there. It's very odd. Just lightly gonna lift out a little bit here. When I do roses, I usually will start from the outer edges and work my way in. Now, one of the reasons that I started with the background first is it makes it much easier for me to judge the rest of my values. If I started with the rose, I would feel like everything was too dark when in fact it wasn't dark enough. I know my my background was dark, so I did that first. That makes it so much easier to judge my values. Angel said, yes, many online platforms are not functioning well, maybe due to limited work staff, including YouTube. Many have been complaining about it here too. Yeah, and that's possible. That's definitely, and that's why I had given them, the benefit of the doubt initially for the first couple of months of not being able to get that straightened out. And I'm like, okay, I'll give it some time. Hopefully that'll get fixed. But then it didn't. And I'm like, what the heck? Like at some point, if you're still taking my money, you need to fix your stuff. I've had problems with a few websites of things that I ordered, and yeah, there have definitely been some problems. And I understand, things are crazy right now, but if you can't handle the service, maybe I don't know, don't keep taking more business. I know my husband's company, he works for an elevator company where it's like 911 for elevators. So like if you're stuck in an elevator and it's one of theirs, the call goes to them and then they send out help and all of that. So their company, they furloughed a bunch of the employees when all of the COVID stuff happened, and they have everyone working from home now, which I personally love. I love having him here, but I hate his hours. Those hours really suck. But when they started getting busy again, they didn't bring back enough employees. Like they brought some back, but they get to where they're too busy now. And it's definitely frustrating for people who are calling for services and such, and there aren't enough people working to help. So I think a lot of businesses are kind of in this in-between stage of figuring out how many employees they need for how much business they're going to get. But yeah, this has been months with Fine Art America, which is where I'm kind of frustrated now. What is the eraser pencil thing you're using? I am using the Tombow Mono Eraser and the Sanford Tough Stuff Eraser Stick. COVID equals tech support shortage, apparently. Which is weird because so many are working from home. Like I couldn't get a hold of overstock. I had ordered something from them and they never sent it. And they claimed that they did because they made a tracking number. But when I contacted UPS, UPS was like, they never gave it to us. And it was a mess and I couldn't get anyone on the phone. You're not allowed to talk to anybody right now. Everything had to be through type. But in type, the person who I was talking to, they were not a native English speaker and they were having a very hard time communicating. So it was very hard to get the situation resolved, being that I couldn't talk to an actual, like somebody on the phone like I normally would whenever there was a thing. So it took, God, 3 weeks to resolve that. Like, so there've been a few things where I'm like, yeah, I won't be ordering from you until all this is over. I've had a few websites that were weird. My bank, there was a problem and I had to call, but you can't talk to anybody right now. At a bank, there's no phone number to talk to somebody from a bank. I'm like, that's kind of scary. So they got it sorted, but I didn't get all of the answers I was hoping to get because there was no one to talk to. Let's see. Danielle said, you mentioned that you have a violin that you got repaired. My husband inherited an old violin and I don't know what to do with it. Who would I go to get it refurbished? Contact your local instrument shops. Like, just do a Google search and see if there's somebody who sells instruments. So maybe type in violin, type in band might not be it. Instrument repair, just type that in Google and see what comes up. Luckily, we have a few in my area. And even in California, there were a few that I was able to take it to. So that the one in my area was able to even glue when it started coming loose, which, I mean, it's over 100 years old. It's going to happen. They were able to pull it all apart, clean it, reseal everything. And it didn't, I forget how much it cost, but it was back when I was doing the very starving artist thing and I was still able to afford it, which means it couldn't have been too terribly much. Angel said, looking forward for a new gouache project. I don't know when I'm going to do gouache again. It's not, I'm really liking the watercolor pencils right now. I don't know if I'm going to invest in gouache. I feel like I have so many mediums that I'm working in. Like there's just so many already. Do I really want to add more? I mean, probably, but we'll see. So what I'm going to use here is just my blending stump and see how, because it's dirty, I can use this to apply color in an area that's lighter. So it makes it a little bit easier to control. So if I erase something and it's too harsh or whatever, I can go back and shade with that guy. This area is a bit too dark. I got a little crazy there. And this should be really white. So let's lighten this side up. Keep not using that fancy tool I have. Just a little bit lighter there. And so you're really focusing on your values. Now what I'm doing, I look at my reference photo and go for close on any given area. Does not need to be exact. Again, it's not that big of a deal. But looking at that reference photo gives me a general idea of where I want certain lights and darks. Oh wait, you actually go over here. Pay attention. If you want to have it be a little bit easier for you to get details, go with a larger piece. Charcoal is fast. Like, you can work big, fast, and get tons of tiny detail. It's definitely one of my favorite parts about charcoal. So I probably should have gone bigger on this one. Dropping my eraser. And we've got a light area along the top here. Let's lighten that. No, that's too light. That's okay. I'm going to shade that again with my little blending stump. want to lighten along here. And then it gets dark on that outer edge. So I'll switch here to that pencil. And then let that shade in a bit. Actually, that comes out a lot further. I don't know where I thought that was going. That's out here. Or close to it, whatever. Let's see. Angel said, and some businesses will only operate 3 times a week. Yeah, I've seen that. Ahmed said, is it possible that I can have your comments on my drawing work? So I don't do individual critiques unless we're doing a critique video. There's just no time. I would love to. I would love there to be way more hours in the day. There just aren't as many complaints as I have pulled Karen so many times on time, trying to request them to extend our days. It just doesn't work. But yeah, no, I can't. I just can't. So what I do is I'll announce when I'm going to be doing another critique, a group critique, and let people submit then. See how I can go back and forth? Like areas where I completely change the shape of a petal and it's no big deal. That is, it is definitely it erases so nicely. One of my favorite things about charcoal. Sign Greyhound in the background. Sergi said, how do you plan your crisp details and texture in charcoal compared to, let's say, graphite? The combination, the eraser, the Tombow Mono eraser is how I really come back through and get a lot of the sharper details. Got a mouse. Okay, I have to scratch my eyebrow area, but I have charcoal over, so, I probably left some. The other thing with charcoal, if you want a lot of fine details, go bigger. Charcoal is a fast medium. Like trying to work smaller, I'm doing too small, honestly. If I were to do this again, I would certainly go larger than this because it's fast, but it's hard to get that. It is harder to get those little details. So why not go bigger? Make it easier on yourself. Now the lighting is overexposing this a bit. Let me see if I can adjust this now that we're a bit further in. It's showing my white way wider than I currently have it. Let me fix that. It's probably a little bit closer. And I'm not changing it to make it look better because it's not. I'm changing it, actually makes it look worse. I'm changing it just to try to make it as accurate for you, so you guys are seeing what I'm seeing as much as possible. Jessica said, Winsor & Newton now have released their Albrecht Dürer watercolor markers. Ooh, do you think you would try them in the future? Maybe. I am curious about those. I'd need more information. I like the light fastness of the other ones, but I'm not really that much of a marker person, so I don't want to really invest a whole bunch of money into there's probably other things I'm more interested in, like a set of watercolors, like real watercolors. Jason said, so I don't know. I'm not sure on that one yet. Are you using the square mono eraser or the circular one? I'm using the circular one. The square one would work. I just don't know where mine is. Normally, I like the circle one better anyway. Let's see, we've got a highlight here. And so here's one thing I've got really off on this guy. That petal is not that far out. You, which petal are you? Wait, you, yeah, you're supposed to be thin. You get up there. I don't know where you think you're going. You got a little crazy here. Just darken all of you up. I'll come back through with the eraser. It's a horrible sound. Would I recommend earbuds when you are drawing in charcoal? That would probably make it a lot more tolerable. Okay, soften this out a bit. Come through with the eraser. Angel said, thank you for this live stream. What is will your next live stream be? Next will be Wednesday. We're going to finish up, we better finish up, that koala fur. That is my plan for Wednesday. And then next Friday, I want to teach you guys how to paint a rainbow in acrylics with and without an airbrush is the plan there. Shelly said, can you use charcoal over graphite to get a darker value? Sort of. It doesn't stick that well. Graphite is very sleek and it tends to not stick all that well. And here's the other thing, anywhere where I've done this before, the mixed media with that, you can always really see which areas are graphite and which areas are charcoal. And I don't I like mixed media. I don't like that mixed media. I've just never been a huge fan. I'm not saying it can't be done well. I'm saying it's just not my favorite. So it's not, again, can it be done? Yes. Should it be done? Questionable. I've used, usually if I'm going to go with, if I'm mixing, I will go with carbon pencil and graphite because it's a little bit closer, but it's still obvious where they were done in different areas. Just get a little texture there by dabbing that. Let's go over to the mono eraser. I'm just lightly going to lift some of this. I love how forgiving charcoal is, like completely changing shape of petals, and it's so easy to do. And when I get into here, I'm really not going super by the photo. I'm just going to kind of make those little swirly guys in here. It's tiny. I should have worked larger if I wanted this to be more exact, so I'm not going to worry about it. Which petal was I on? You can lighten up. And those outer edges. And if your eraser gets super dirty from the charcoal, just go over it on your paper towel or whatever just to clean it up. Jason said, Lisa, with the way paper is formed, do you want to flatten the paper or have it look more structured? I'm not trying to flatten it. If I'm using the textured paper, I'm leaving it textured. I'm not going to try to flatten it. If I want flattened paper, I'm going to use flattened paper. Or like flatter paper. You know it. Hopefully you know what I mean. Angel said, would you make a guidebook, say children's coloring book? Would I do it? No. I don't do things for kids, especially now with the weird, like the rules are getting crazy with anything on the or that might be for kids or whatever on YouTube and all of that. But with the books in general, I've had people ask me to write books, and that used to be one of my goals until I had met my friend who's an author and found out what was involved in writing a book. Oh God, no. I don't have time for that. I can't do that and make videos. You pick one. You only have so much time. So no, it's not something I'm currently planning. Will I ever do it? I can't say I never will, but I sure don't have plans. it's it's an insane amount of work to author a book. And I was thinking, oh, it won't be that much, because no, it is. It absolutely is. And that doesn't sound like fun to me. I mean, it would definitely be something to be proud of. I mean, you wrote a book. That's awesome. But no. That isn't even close to what it is on the reference photo. See what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter with roses. I love that. I love that as long as you're like, I mean, it still looks like a rose. Very forgiving. One of the best subjects for beginners. Really good for practicing your, shading and values, and still have something that looks good even if you weren't perfect with it. Vladimir said, fun fact, but did you know they ask for your old ID in Mattress Firm to buy a mushy marshmallow mattress? What? That is weird. That's so weird. Unless, I guess if you were using a credit card, but pay, what? Cat's Art Pick said, if you have a question for me, make sure you're doing the Lachri fine art. If it doesn't highlight my name in orange, I just don't see it. I'm not trying to ignore you, I just wouldn't see it. Ahmed said, any live stream plan on how to use a fan brush? No, because I don't like them. I almost never use fan brushes. They're nearly useless in my techniques. So it is rare, very rare, you'll see me use one. I think there are other brushes that are much more practical in most things that I do. And when I first started painting, I went out and bought a bunch of fan brushes because, like, to me in my head, it's an artist thing. You gotta have a fan brush. You really don't. There are certain techniques they're kind of cool for doing trees on a larger scale, but even like they're just not my favorite. I have other brushes that work better for me. Jessica said, Winsor & Newton have little snippet videos of using their new watercolor markers on their YouTube channel. I'm gonna have to check it out, but I think I'd rather just get regular watercolors. I don't know. I say things like that and then 5 minutes later change my mind, so who knows. But right now I'm leaning towards an itchy nose, but I can't scratch it because I have charcoal all over me. But I'm leaning towards not right now. But like I said, I'm not a super marker person. That's why it's so weird to me that I got so, oh my gosh, itchy nose is so bad. I got so into the Winsor & Newton pigment markers because I've never really liked markers that much. And one of the things with markers is most of them are not light fast. The Winsor & Newton pigment markers are the only ones I know of at the time anyway. I don't know what their watercolor ones that were. That's a big deal to me. So that was a huge selling point for me for wanting to try them. And then just the way they blend, I love those. If I was going to use a marker, I would just stick with them. Jason said, are you going to put the stem on the bottom? No, I am not. I don't even know if I can see the stem on my reference photo very much. The lighting's terrible. It's too bright in here. But no, I am not. I'm just going to have my little floaty rose. Well, at this angle, the stem it would just disappear into the background anyway. It wouldn't come down here because you're at the wrong angle. It would be farther back, so that would not be. Do I use gold leaf? I want to. That is one medium I really, really want to learn more about. I started watching videos of, my reference photo disappeared. I started watching videos on that a while back, but that is definitely something that interests me a lot. Okay. And we're going to just fuss over little areas you want to be a little brighter, a little darker. This is the fun part. It's not like, it's mostly done. You're just going through and defining little areas better. Be careful if you're going to use a brush because you can smudge things like crazy if you overdo it. Angel said, absolutely, even the makeup community fan brushes are useless. Yeah, I should reward that. They're useless for me. They just do not, I find other brushes to give me the technique I want or the look that I want better. There are very few times that I would use a fan brush. Could I make it work? Sure. I don't know why I would want to. Like, it's not, there are other ones that I personally like better. But that is just my personal thing. darken this bottom one up quite a bit. Let him just be a hint in the background. I've got him brighter than I think I want him to be. Man, that forest that we did a few weeks ago in charcoal, if I had these little blocks, that would have gone so much faster. I'm really happy with the charcoal set that I got so far. With these pencils and those blocks, this is definitely a lot more fun. Like, I feel like the supplies are more practical than what I was using last week or the last time. Use the mono eraser to scratch. To scratch. I don't know what you mean. Let's see. Cat's Heart Pig said, Lisa, that's what the fan brushes are for. Itchy nose. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Perfect. Jason said the part without the eraser. Oh. Why? Oh, to scratch my face. My God, I swear I never understand you even when you speak perfectly clearly. I'm like, huh? Yeah, no, that makes sense. Let's see, slime works great for cleaning up charcoal mats. Oh, good thinking. I actually I was looking at Play-Doh recently. That's all made with wheat. I have celiac disease. I can't play with wheat. I don't know if the slime did or not. I did not even think of it. Would too. Wow. I need to go buy slime. Like, I have a reason to buy slime, and that is weirdly exciting to me because I want to play with it. I'm excited. Let's see. Phyllis was telling Joseph he's losing it. Okay. I don't know what they were talking about. So I'm gonna come through and define a few of these better. I'm really happy with these God, this makes it so much more fun, these pencils and those blocks. Like, I can say at this point, I do recommend these, but again, I can't say they're the best in the world, but I am definitely enjoying these. Again, these are I'll show you what it looks like. It's a box. It's the compressed charcoal sticks, and I got it in 6B. I got 2B and 4B. If I were to get these again, I would probably just get the 6B, because I can shade this. What is this gaming person? What is wrong with him? Oh, he just keeps saying hi. Hi. Calm down. Let's see. Nick said, Julio Hernandez asks, can you combine charcoal with Staedtler Mars Lemongrass black pencils? You can. And that's actually, so the darkest black of the Staedtler Luminous, it's going to have, it has like almost a waxier feel. It'll be a little bit shinier than this, but closer than, like, I would like the combination of that more than with the graphite, but still, I don't know why you would, well, I guess it would sharpen to a finer point, so that might look nice. That may be a good way to go. So yes, you can combine them. Jason said, LOL, so slow. Also, how do you apply fixative to charcoal? So the way that I'm going to apply it will be, I will use my Spectrafix. I'll shake it up and I will just lightly mist it, let it dry, lightly mist it again, and it will darken it a little bit. You know me, I like high contrast. Good. You just made you made it look better. That's a good thing. And when I was younger, I used to hate that when it would darken things up because I didn't understand, I didn't have the same love for contrast when I used to use charcoal before. So I would get so annoyed when they darken up. And now I'm like, you made my darks darker? Like, that's, I'm also knocking stuff on the floor. That's perfect. I love it. So yeah, I like that element, but be aware that that does happen, whether it be on and I don't find the shift to be super strong with this as some of the other fixatives I had used in the past. Some of those spray fixatives, they were an aerosol. I remember, and I don't remember which brand. It was probably Krylon because that's most of what they had at Michael's at the time, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. But that, again, we're talking 15 years ago, so it's been a while. That one used to darken a lot more. The Spectrafix doesn't shift it that much. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of a highlight in a few of these, like pull it out. This is the stage where I'm not really using the reference photo that much. I'm just going by, oh, I think it'd look nice if I did this. Let's see, you've got a bit more of a shadow here. Yeah, it is hard to get the little detail. I went a little bit smaller than I typically, yeah, I would go bigger for something like this. Now you can sharpen the pencils. I could switch and sharpen them a bit on whether it be sanded paper or take a razor blade. Like a, where's my X-Acto knife? I don't know if I should be playing with sharp things right now. And I'm knocking paper on the floor. Okay, oh, here it is. But you can take, if you wanted to get it to a point, you can sit and kind of sharpen that with your, with a razor blade. If you needed, like if that was something you really wanted, that is an option. Or taking a piece of sandpaper and just sanding it to get it to more of a point. We can also use some of our stuff we did last week. Or I keep saying last week. It was not last week. I am a liar. We can use, we've got our carbon pencil, which I don't feel like sharpening, but these ones actually gave a decent amount of detail too. We've got, these are the Winsor & Newton Vine Hard Sticks. They're hard, so they're going to give, oh, this one isn't even open yet. Oh, no, it is. They're going to give you a pretty clean drawing. It's hard, so it's not going to be super dark, but it can give you a really nice edge. So that's an option too. These ones don't smudge quite as much, being that they are a harder, I say lead, lead's not really the right word, but you guys know what I mean. Let's see. Do you have the new Luminance pencils yet? I do not. Do I still watch TV? I don't even have TV. Like, I mean, technically I could put Netflix on, but we didn't sign up for like cable or any, well, we have cable internet, but that's it. We don't watch TV ever. So I couldn't justify, like, TV's expensive and I just couldn't justify it for something we never would watch. So no, I don't like sit down and watch TV shows or anything like that. I used to watch Netflix more, but with the way my husband's schedule is, we're not ever off at the same time almost. Like at night, our schedules are just super different. So he was the one who would like get us to watch shows more, but because of the current timing, we haven't been in a while. Like it's been months since we sat down and watched something. The last thing I watched was the All Souls trilogy. I started that one. I think I have like one episode left. I read the book, so I already know what happens. So it wasn't like a I can't stop watching type thing, because I already know. Good books, by the way. The All Souls trilogy, definitely can recommend those if you like fantasy stuff. So well done. Tallulah said, okay, the mess may be worth it. I know you say roses are easy, but for some reason, they're the only flower I can't get right. The one, this one actually looks like a rose. I'm shocked. Nice. That's awesome. I like these little vine sticks. I never used them before. They came in one of my Smart Art boxes. I would never even thought to buy them. I'm like, they're weird looking. I don't want to use that. I like them. That's one of the things I love with Smart Art boxes. If you're unfamiliar with Smart Art Box, and I used to do promos for them, so just for transparency. But I'm not being paid to say this or anything. It's just sharing my opinion on it. They still send me the boxes. I love them. But every month you get a box of full-size art supplies and a lesson plan on how to use them. So it's really cool. You end up trying a lot of things you might not have tried before. And these vine sticks are one of them. The charcoal vine sticks. I never bought these before. It just seemed like weird, but I actually kind of like them. I'm just going around these edges and making them a bit more defined. Come back through with my eraser. And again, I'm not really paying that much attention to my reference photo now. I'm just going by what would make mine look better. What does mine need? Outer edge is kind of a hot mess, isn't it? That scratchy sound makes me cringe. And said, could you pull more detail on a hot press paper? Potentially, yes. But also, I mean, The pencils I'm using, I didn't make them to a fine point, so that could give you more detail. If I wanted a lot of detail, I would definitely go bigger. That's one of the best things with charcoal. You can work huge very, very quickly. So if I wanted a lot more detail, I would just work bigger, is what I would recommend. But yeah, the smoother side can, but you have to remember, the smoother the paper, the charcoal isn't going to adhere to it quite the same or quite as well, because it doesn't have as much to grip to. However, I've used it on drawing paper and been perfectly happy with it. So yes, you could make it a little bit easier to get those lines to have them very smooth on a hot press smooth paper. But yeah, like all of these little details, if I had gone bigger, and I really wish I would have, I know I've said it 800 times. You all know I would have at this point. It would be a lot easier. I didn't plan those out very well. To get like tiny detail. And then when you shrink it down for photograph or printing or whatever, it looks like you've done so much detail. It looks amazing. Andrea said, thanks for doing this. I started drawing with normal everyday pencils when I was a kid, not drawn anything in a long time. This inspires me. Nice. Pat said, have you tried the Slice ceramic pen cutter? They're great for lifting colored pencil whiskers. Yes, we actually reviewed them. God, it's been years. I don't know where mine is. I don't even know if that's the brand I have. I just have a ceramic knife. Is it in here? Where is mine? I have a ceramic, just any ceramic X-Acto knife. They're all going to work the same. You don't have to, it doesn't really matter what brand. But no, it works really well with colored pencil. But it works better if you have, let's say you put the pencil on pretty heavy with dark, like a dark or a light layer, and then you put a darker layer on top. When you come on top with one of those ceramic knives, it looks very similar to this type of a knife, but it's ceramic, and you can come through and scrape like hairs. You can scrape whiskers you mentioned. Yeah, those are really cool for that. I haven't used mine in so long because I like the touch-up texture titanium white mixture for tiny details, so I usually use that. But no, those do work really well. So I know there's been a lot of advertisements for it on Facebook. I can definitely say they are worth buying. Brand, I don't find it makes a big difference. Just any ceramic X-Acto knife is going to, it should work the same anyway. Ahmed said, how would you save your artwork once you finish drawing with charcoal? So what I will do is I will spray it. I will do a fine mist with my Spectrafix. So that is this stuff right here. I'll do a layer, let it dry, do another layer, and then I will store it in it's like actually let me get it because we're pretty much, I'm just fussing over little stuff here. So let me show you the boxes that I store stuff in. Actually, let me clean my hands first so I don't get this all over other artwork. I just have little baby wipes here. Man, I got charcoal everywhere. Okay. Let me see if I can get it out without knocking everything over. There we go. So these boxes come in many different sizes. I want to say I got mine from Jerry's years ago, so whether or not they still have them, let me see how I can best make sure you guys can see this. So here we go. It's just a box, and it opens up, and then my artwork can sit inside. And what I will typically do is, well, these ones don't. These are just a bunch of the live stream ones we've done. But normally, gosh, we've done a lot of these paint along for the live streams. We should do a show and tell real quick here. But normally what I do is put, and I don't have it in here, I put a piece of glassine in between each layer. This box is not the box. It has the glassine, but that'll keep you from smudging the work. Also, just a few, these are some of the recent live streams we've done, which is kind of like, wow, we haven't seen these. So we had the tulip and colored pencil. You can still follow along on any of these. This one was Inktense or watercolor pencil? What did I do on this? I think this one was Inktense, if I remember correctly. And that looks weird on the photo thing there. We did this guy last week. We have our dandelion. Week before, we had fireworks and colored pencil. I like how this guy came out a lot. We have our butterfly in colored pencil. He came out really good. This one was on the Luxe Archival. This one is also colored pencil and pan pastel background. So again, all of these tutorials are the live streams. You can draw along with them right now. They're all here on my channel. We did a llama in Graphite. I need to give that to my friend. We've got a bee on a flower, and we did a rose. I like that rose. I love the colors on that one. I actually had someone leave a really nasty comment about what a horrible job I did, and it made him want to vomit on that rose. He thought I was trying to copy the way tattoo artists do their, it was the weirdest comment. Let's see. And I always love how people that leave really rude comments start out with, I don't mean to be rude, but yeah, the second you said but, it was, just stop. But anyway, so yeah, those were some of our recent live streams. Or paint-alongs. And that's not even the paintings. We've got a bunch more paintings. So tons of these live streams in different mediums for you guys. Let's see. Where were we? I lost my place. Here we go. Jason said, when you put the compressed charcoal down, you use the eraser on the edge to make the contrast more defined? Yes. Yes. Yes, that is what I'm trying to think. I'm like, yeah, I think that's what we did. Yes. Phyllis said, could you use glassine with this to keep the mess down or will it smudge? You can, but be careful. Don't when the glassine is there, let's say you've got it against your artwork, don't let it touch the artwork and then slide it over. Like put it there, lift it, and then scoot it over to where you need to if you have to reposition it. But glassine is going to be your best bet on that, yes. Joshua said, since the quarantine, I have built my own pencil storage with 3 drawers like the ones you have. I would like to build you one as a gift from all of his Lachri's. Wow, I would love that. Thank you. I would really love that. Okay, we've still got a few minutes, even though Gibson's up and wandering around. I don't know why he's up already, but we can just keep sitting and putting a little bit more, pulling little highlights out here and there. Oh, I know, I hear you, whiny boy. Let's see, this whole area could be a little bit lighter. Let me get a piece of the kneaded eraser. Jason said, could we do a hummingbird in a stream? Yeah, we could. What medium? I need to write it down. Where is the paper I was writing got knocked on the floor. Let me grab that. Let me know what medium. Yeah, next week will be rainbows and acrylic, and then we can do a hummingbird the following week. Just let me know what medium you want to do that in. Now, if you want it to be one that's like more detailed in multi-parts, then that would be a Wednesday night one, and that'll be when we're done with the koala. Or if you want a quick one with less detail, then we can do that on a Friday. Let me know your preference. What was I just going to light? Oh, here, you can be lighter. Just a little bit. Let's see. Visions of the Heart said, I want to start in colored pencils, and I'm trying to find one that will look really vibrant, realistic. Should I choose polychromos or light fast? And does any paint thinner work to blend? So not any paint thinner. Like I would not go to a hardware store and get paint thinner. You will probably knock yourself out in your own studio. But yeah, they should all work. I prefer an odorless mineral spirit. So Mona Lisa odorless or Gamsol are the two that I would strongly recommend using. For polychromos or light fast with vibrancy, I would say polychromos has more colors available, so that's a big deal. But the light fast are amazing. You can't go wrong with either one, honestly. And you can add individual pencils from another set if one set didn't have a color that you wanted. So honestly, either way, you can't go wrong. And I know you want a definite answer, and I can't give you one because they're both amazing pencils. Shelly said, thank you for these live streams. I learned so much. I've seen all but 2 of the ones you shared. I'll show you. I'll grab some of the acrylics that we've done too. I'll just do a couple more details here. I wanted to clean this line up. I really like this stick thing. Okay, we'll call it done. He's good. Here, we want to sign it. I'll sign mine with my eraser. And then for spraying it, I can miss that now while we're sitting here with the SpectraFix, I need to back way up. Do not get right up on this if you're going to when you spray your fixatives. Be at a distance. Mine is not spraying far, so I'm just kind of going above it and letting it fall. Mine needs to be cleaned, but normally you want to be at a distance. Mine is a little clogged. Let's see, Boz, let me grab those paintings really quick. By Wade. Let's see. Boz said, I would love to see a chicken or grizzly bear in oils. I have not painted a chicken, have I? Like an actual chicken or a bear. I have a hard time. I'll look for reference photos because I was looking at bears on wildlife reference photos and I wasn't super like excited about any of them for painting, but that would be cool, really cool too. Let me write that down. Where did I put my pencil? There it is. Let's see. Jason said acrylic piece, larger paper side, so that it's defined. Okay, so if you want acrylics, we're going to do that after the koala. We'll do a hummingbird. So it's going to be a few weeks. And that'll be a multi-part live. Okay, let's see. Thanks for the show. You're welcome. Leah, where did I go? Visions of the Heart said, haha, no, that was great. A great answer. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't wasting money and I wanted to see if you knew which one was better than the other. Yeah, they're both, I love both. I can't say which one's better. Leah said, thanks for doing the rose and charcoal. Thanks for watching. Bella said, this is gorgeous. Thank you so much. Thank you. Susan said, thank you for your knowledge. I joined Patreon a few months ago and I love that you teach in so many mediums. Awesome. So here are some of our other ones that we did recently. Why are you up, Gibson? Oh, hi, needy boy. He's been extremely neat. Can you see his snoot? There's his snoot. He's been extremely needy since last night. And I left him home alone with Dad, and was next door sewing up my neighbor's couch because her dog ate her couch. So I was over there for like 6 hours, and apparently Gibson was crying for me, and he was sad I was not with him. So he's been a needy boy ever since. He's been like super, super clingy. How do you mind that though? So here are some we did. We did the eagle in acrylics. We did a yellow tang in acrylics. The lighting isn't coming out right on that because this guy is really aqua up here. It's way prettier in person. We did the dandelion. Again, the colors are not coming out right on this. In acrylics, that looks super muted. You just snooted. You got snoot juice on my painting. Gibson. Okay, you keep him over here. I don't need your help. We did he's resting his head on my leg next to the paintings. We have the starry night type landscape. We have done a lot of these paint-alongs. We did a seascape with the palm tree. So again, all of these are here on the channel if you want to paint any of these. We did a really loose style, more impressionistic style landscape. I like this guy. And this color looks more gray up here. It's more of a plum. It's really pretty in person. I don't like how it looks on the screen. It looks too harsh. We did another starry night type. I like how that one came out a lot. We painted some irises using just the primary colors. So that one came out pretty. Yep, that is it for the painting. So there's our stack of those. Where can I put this? Where Gibson won't put his snoot juice on it. Gross, Gibson. Nobody wants your contributions. So, yeah, that is it for today. Again, next week we will do the rainbows. I'm going to show you how to do them just with glazing without an airbrush, and I'll show you how to do them with an airbrush. Trying to think how we will do the background on that. I'll figure something out. Let's see. Jason Ellis voted for a grizzly bear. Okay, let me write that down. I'll see what I can find. They seem to be harder What are you doing? Those seem to be harder to find photos of. Like, I can find polar bears. I really can't find, like, it's really hard to find good photos. So I'll look at wildlifereferencephotos.com and see what I can find. No, for that would be for Patreon. It would not be one of these lives, because if I do one of these lives, and being that it is from Wildlife Reference Photos, you would have to buy that in order to follow along. So it's like I try to keep these ones all Unsplash or Pixabay so that you guys can all, you know, use the same reference photo for free. So let's see. Cat's Art Pick said, thanks for another great live stream. Have a great weekend. Thank you. And thanks to our moderators, Joseph and Nick, both have channels here on YouTube, art channels. Check them out. They're awesome. Tell them thank you. They help me so much. I'm really going to do this without them, because we get people who, I couldn't do this without them. I don't even know how to word what people do and say. So anyway, definitely thank them. And thank you guys for watching. Wednesday, we're going to finish up the hair on the koala. If it kills me, that fur is getting finished. And then that would leave one more week to do the leaves and the branches, and then that guy will be done. And then what did we say for the next one was going to be hummingbird and acrylics for the multi-part, will be after that guy. But yeah, next week we've got Wednesday, koala, Friday, rainbows, both with glazing and with the airbrush. And why are you so bored? You're usually not bugging me this time. Seriously, he's been so needy since I left him alone. And he wasn't even alone. My husband was here. He's very clingy. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm just rambling now. We are good. Thank you again for joining, and I will see you guys on Wednesday.